Hey, what's up? Andrew Kramer here, and in this tutorial we're going to create an ocean surface that's going to reflect our background. So something like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to create a new composition, and I'll use the DV preset and choose OK. I'm going to create a new solid, and we're going to make it 1200 by 1200 and choose OK. I'm going to choose Effect, Noise, Fractal Noise, and Effect, Blur, Fast Blur, Repeat Edge Pixels, Blurriness 25. Then I'm going to turn it into a 3D layer and rotate it until it's flat, and then move it down so it's a floor. Then I'm going to take our cloud image and drag it out, turn it into a 3D layer, and then we need to move it to the back. So if we push back on the Z space just till it runs into the back so it looks like a T, and if we go to the top view, we can adjust this to match up a little bit better. Back to the active camera now. Okay, speaking of cameras, let's create a new one. And I'm going to choose the 35mm preset, choose OK. And what we want to do is duplicate our cloud layer. So let's move it up till it lines up right with the bottom. And let's shut the bottom layer off and choose Edit, Duplicate, and move our second copy of the clouds down, and then rotate it upside down. Then move it to line up right with the bottom. And I'm using the arrow keys on the keyboard to move it up and down. Then go ahead and turn on the fractal noise layer. Okay, the next step is to pre-compose the fractal noise. So I'm going to choose Layer, Pre-compose, and we'll call this Water Map, and I'll choose OK. Okay, and now I'm going to shut the water map off. So the next step is to create the watery refractive surface. So I'm going to create a new adjustment layer, choose Effect, Distort, Displacement Map. Then we'll use the displacement map of the water map. Then let's increase the amount of displacement happens. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, but let's take our cloud layer and position it one on top of the other, top, bottom, and then parent the bottom to the top so that if we move it around it stays together. And then let's take the displacement map and move it below the top layer. Now we're getting some spotting in the water, so with the bottom layer selected, choose Tile from the effects and presets and take the motion tile effect and apply it to the bottom layer. Then increase the height to 150, mirror the edges, and that should take care of that problem. So now we've created the surface, and it is in fact 3D. We can kind of orbit around here, but the problem is our map is static. So we need to turn on the collapse transformation switch for the water map. And if we look at that layer alone, you can see here it's 3D, but if it's off, our 3D isn't happening. So with the collapse transformation switch on and the layer off, we can then orbit around and create sort of this ocean-like surface. Now let's go ahead and take the Track Z camera tool and just move in till our edges are complete there. And basically we can rotate around this as if it were a large watery surface. Let's go ahead and animate the water surface. So I'm going to Alt double click on the map. And in the fractal noise options we have the evolution. So if we rotate this, you can see it sort of animates. So click on the stopwatch for the evolution, move forward a few seconds, and we'll go 2 revolutions. So 2 times 360. And we'll go back into our main comp, and let's go and preview what we have. Okay. So as you can see, the water surface is now fluctuating. So that's kind of the effect we're after. Because our displacement is then linked to this map of the water, anything we do to it in here will affect it inside of this comp. Now let's take the bottom layer of the water and choose Effect, Color Correction, Curves. And let's just bring the brightness down some. And let's choose Effect, Color Correction, Tint. And let's bring the amount of tint down so it matches with it. So the water is basically a little bit darker than the sky. So now we can actually animate the camera. And let's play that back. So what we have is a camera move with the water fluctuating. So remember, this is all 3D, and just like in the previous tutorial, you can actually add video elements or logos and place it on the surface of the water with reflection and create some very cool effects. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. My name is Andrew Kramer, and you can check me out at videocopilot.net. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Andrew Kramer here with videocopilot.net. Now what I want to do is kind of go over what I have here. I've created this comp for a website, and we have the background, we have the pyramids here in the middle ground, we have the foreground, which is this wall. And what I have is each one of these layers are separated into elements. We have the sky as the background, we have the pyramids by themselves, and I've saved these as PNG files out of Photoshop so that I can have all this transparency data to work with. Now let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is comp this sky element into a new comp by dragging this down to the New Comp button. And the next thing I want to do is put the next element on, which is our horizon, which is the sand. Drag that down here, hit Alt-Home. We'll take that to the 0 marker there. And let's go and grab the pyramids and our night wall. Okay, the cool thing about this is each of these layers represents a different plane on the composition, basically. So we can separate these into 3D space and hopefully create some cool little views and some cool angle changes. First thing I want to do is make sure that my comp matches up with our reference, which is this completed comp here. And the first thing I want to do is go ahead and lower the opacity of this, zoom in a little bit, and select our night wall layer, and go ahead and just push that up so that it matches with our background. And that way, when we fade in our buttons, everything will be pretty much the same spot where everything is. We can go ahead and delete that reference file for now. And before we turn all these layers into 3D layers, because right now we're just 2D compositing, is I want to create a new camera. So from the Layer menu, New Camera, and make sure we select the 35mm preset for this instance. Go ahead and hit OK. It's telling us we don't have any 3D layers, but that's okay. Hit OK. And let's go ahead and turn on each of our layers into 3D space. And we have a little switch here, a little 3D box, and we can click them all on. Do them one by one, or if you click on the first one and hold down the mouse and drag down, turn them all on, likewise with all the other switches. And so what do we have? We have all the layers in 3D space, but right now they're all taking up the same spot. So what we need to do is we need to separate these into 3D space. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and use the preset camera views in After Effects. Right now we're looking at the active camera, and that's this camera that's part of our comp. But we can also change it from our active camera to these top views, basically. So let's go into the top view. And what I want to do is I want to basically move our sky element way in the background, our sand a little bit closer but further back also,